Howdy everybody, welcome to the State of the Fleet September 2025 edition. Now, as you know, we buy and turn over some new and old cars to make content with as part of the TFL Studios group of channels. So that's car, truck, off-road, classics now, bike, and talk along with EV. And to bring you guys what we think is hopefully some of our more interesting content, we actually go out and buy a number of cars every year, and we do what we call the TFL way of transacting, where we buy high and sell low. It's pretty easy to transact cars that way. So we're not a dealership, we don't make money on buying and selling cars, but every year, every couple of years, we will buy and sell a couple of cars to make content with. And this is the current state of the very eclectic fleet. Now, as much as we'd love to have a fleet that we own permanently, we have salaries of 10 people to pay, and when folks get bored of watching the content, we have to move the cars or truck on so we can afford another vehicle to create new content with. So in this video, we're going to go over all of the vehicles currently in the TFL fleet, and at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the best car that we own, the worst car that we own, the most surprising car that we own, and the one car where if I had to give them all up and I could only keep one, the one I would choose. So let's start out here in the front row with some of the off-roaders, starting out with our Ford Bronco Everglades. Now, this is a car we purchased a few months back. There's a ton of interest still in the new Ford Bronco, and this is, I think, the best trim of the Bronco, the Everglades. It was discontinued for 25. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it again, but it's not a big seller. This is our off-road recovery vehicle. It's lurking around in a lot of off-road shoots. It's been in a ton of off-road shoots. We just did a Bronco versus TFL mud hole, so it's had a pretty tough summer. I'm not gonna lie, folks, for being a $50,000+ new vehicle, it's seen probably more than its fair share of rocks, and it gets ridden hard, put away wet, but it's been holding up brilliantly. This thing has proven itself to be just awesome. There's very little I dislike about this Ford Bronco, and we just upgraded it with the 3W floor mats, super easy to clean, very durable, and that's been a nice little addition to this new Bronco. Laser cut. Bit of a shameless plug here, but genuinely I've been very impressed with these floor mats because this does have the vinyl floor, which is great, but then having to constantly clean out the vinyl floor is a little bit of a pain compared to just pulling out the mat. But 4-cylinder only in the Everglades, yeah, it's just been great. The only miss I have about this being an Everglades is I really like taking the tops off Jeeps and Broncos, but with this rack on top, it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt, especially if you just want to pull off the freedom panels. It's not as simple as just yanking them off. So that's the only complaint I have with this, but it's a small price to pay for the most capable vehicle I think we've probably ever owned. Front and rear locking differentials, standard Warren winch in the front. It's got the turn assist. It's just a beast. You know, we've never had an extreme recon or what do they call them now? The Wrangler on 35. We've never owned one of those as a TFL company, but if we do, maybe that'll take the cake. But currently, this is definitely the king of the hill in terms of all-out capability. Now, next to that is Perry. Perry is our P38 Range Rover. It's a 2001. We paid like $3,300 for it, and we bought it because this is largely agreed to be the least reliable Range Rover ever made. People give P38 so much hell, and there were some fundamental design issues with these. They have air suspensions that fail, they have head gaskets that fail, they have electronics that fail, and they are just notorious for being horrible to own. But Perry has been darn tootin' perfect. This thing is also, by the way, running support on a lot of vehicles if the what's going on? There we go. If the Bronco is out or unavailable, and this is kind of the pack mule of the off-road fleet. So it gets ridden really hard, put away wet, and it just keeps coming back for more. These old Land Rovers and Range Rovers fall into a category of vehicle I call it when they get to the state called the pit. And there's really no returning from the pit because there are things wrong with this car that would be more expensive to replace than the car's worth. For example, like the blend doors in the dashboard mean that the air doesn't go where you want it to go. Typically, that's a dashboard out job. Normal shop, that's going to be well more than the car is worth. There's just a lot of little kind of gremlins here and there, but the thing about Land Rovers and Range Rovers, once they get to the state, they seemingly just never die. Like, they'll never be perfect, but the engines never fail, the transmissions never fail, they never will fail to get you home, weirdly enough. It's just they're not up to 100%, but Perry's gonna stay in the pit because it's been super reliable. We've had this thing for a long time. Mary's done a bunch of videos with it. I've done a bunch of videos with Case with it, and it's gonna continue to be in videos because it is incredible off-road. It's shockingly good for what this thing looks like. Now, next to Perry is our GMC Canyon AT4X, one of the newer trucks in the TFL truck fleet. Maybe I'll have Andre do some more detailed fleet updates on the truck stuff, but Pumpkin, as we call it, has been once again shocking. I mean, the capability of this truck, we just had this thing out in Moab for a video with Ryan from Driving Sports TV, and it absolutely dominated his $13,000 modified Tacoma. Now, no doubt, that thing could be made to be incredible off-road. He needed some bigger tire and a lift on it, but out of the box, this AT4X is one of the most capable four-wheel drive off-road trucks, period, bar none, end of story. It is unreal. This is not even a Bison. It's not even on like the 35s, but it's incredible what this thing can do. The only thing I don't really like about this, kind of a weird color combo, the orange sort of kind of conflicts and looks bad against the white and the red. I don't think that looks great, and these seats are pretty uncomfortable. GM, please, let's stop modeling our seats after church pews. Give us some more bolstering and support. But apart from that, engine's been great. Oh, this is a awesome, awesome truck. Now moving on to, let's go to the right here. This is our workhorse. So if that poor P38's our pack mule, this is the workhorse of the TFL family. Once again, maybe I'll have Andre do more detailed updates on this, but this is our Duramax. This is the thing that's pulling all of the trucks that need to get towed to shops and to trailers. And if we have an old car breakdown, this is the truck that comes to the rescue. Duramax, four-wheel drive, good tires. We've got the real truck powered bed cover, which has actually been really reliable. I've been pretty surprised by that. And this thing is racking up the miles. I think we've had this thing for less than a year. And I think we've got like 14,000 miles on it, 13,300 miles, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider we have to make videos and content on all this stuff, that tells you how much this thing gets driven by a relatively small team. So it's been perfect. It's been a workhorse. I just love driving it. I actually like it more than our old Ram because, you know, I've got the, listen, I'm not, at least according to the comments, any sort of man's man, and I just love the way this thing drives. It drives more car-like, the steering's better, the ride's better than the Ram, and it's got great power, absurd power. So that's what's going on with the Silverado 2500 Trail Boss. In total contrast to the Trail Boss is actually one of the cars that I personally own. So the company owns a bunch of these, and I personally own a couple of these as well. This is really my wife's car. This is Tiny Guy. So Tiny Guy is a new Fiat 500 I leased. For a while there, Colorado, with the crazy EV incentives, was doing a $0 down, $0 a month lease on this car. And that's something I couldn't let pass by, so I leased it. It's actually been really good. It's had some kind of weird charging quirks over the past couple months where it doesn't like one of our chargers that every other car likes, but apart from that, it's been great. My wife really likes driving it. It's actually pretty fun. It's pretty nimble. It's a little bit expensive to insure for what it is because it's a lease. I have to have the top trim coverage on it, but the only unfortunate thing about Tiny Guy is she picked up 2 rock chips, and this one expanded before we could fill it, and I went to go get a windshield from Safelite. They're like, it's gonna be $2,000. So then I went to my usual glass guy. He couldn't get them. My other glass guy couldn't get them. So I think it's either Safelite or the dealer. So this is unbelievably expensive. So I need to go get that fixed here. But I just am not excited to put $2,000 into a car that I paid $0 for. Next to that is my trusty steed, my LR3, 2006 Land Rover LR3. I bought this thing almost exactly 2 years ago, and I've put almost exactly 20,000 miles on it in the past 2 years. And I know you're gonna say it's fake, but this thing has been perfect. There's been no issues that have prevented me from getting home where I need to go. I just put a fuel pump in it just out of an abundance of caution, but you know, I don't really think it needed it. And apart from that, it has been unbelievable. I've got the KO2s on there. I've got the winch. The only thing that's broken was this winch failed on me, which was a huge bummer because it was just this teeny tiny switch down there, and I needed to rescue our G-Wagon that was stuck in the snow, and then I couldn't. So I had to basically disassemble the entire front of the car to fix that one teeny tiny switch. But since then it's been fixed, it's been good. My Terra Firma rock rails have been rusting to high heck. I've been painting them constantly, but that's been a pain in the butt. But she just keeps running. Really got nothing bad to say about this. Case and I are heading out to the Land Rover Rally in Moab, Utah this week. If you're there, be sure to come say hi to us. We'll be there like Tuesday through Thursday. And I'm gonna bring this, and then Case is gonna bring his LS Swap Discovery, which is looking insane, by the way. That is one of the coolest builds I've ever seen. And we'll have more coverage on that coming up this week. Another one of my personal cars, my V8 Vantage, another car I did a video on. Everyone said this is going to be a nightmare, and it's been perfect. A couple thousand miles on it this summer. When I bought this car, this was my dream car, so I was really paranoid about driving it. And then my friends and family had to come to God's Beach and said, why did you buy this if you're not going to drive it? I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I started driving it recently, and then 2 days ago I drove it into town, and our town did this big renovation on a dirt road and splattered the side of it with this goop. So now I'm going to have to go clean this thing up after this video. So that was like, oh gosh, what the heck. Got my silly plate on the back of that thing, but the car's been perfect. You know, the Ford era, both of these cars were manufactured under the Ford era, right? Volvo, Land Rover, Jaguar, Aston Martin were all owned by Ford. And if you get the Ford era stuff, genuinely, they're pretty good. So that car's been so much fun. I've really loved driving it, but not the best car in the fleet. And, you know, I'm going to tantalize with you with that a little bit longer. Some weird stuff here. So our Cat 242D, our little skid steer, I thought my dad was out of his mind when he bought this a few years back, and we use it constantly. And it's been really pretty reliable. You can see kind of off in the distance, there you go, they just got done building a new barn storage space because one of our old ones is collapsing on itself. So we've got a new barn storage space. David has been using this thing to level the ground. David's doing great, by the way. Hopefully we'll have him in some more videos coming here shortly. He's back in action, and he was never out of action. He was just doing some personal stuff, but he's back working with us, which is great. David's just the greatest guy, much better than I'll ever be. But he's been doing a ton of work on the barn over there and been using the 242D. It's been very helpful. Couple of long-term loaners here. Honda Talon, what a blast. You know, we're very fortunate where we have this ranch that we do some off-road testing on and a bunch of content creation on, and having this to kind of zoom around the ranch, work with chores is awesome. I really like the Talon because of the dual clutch. Look, this is not the fastest, it's not the craziest sport side-by-side on the market, it's not turbocharged, it's not a Terex H2, but it has been pretty fun. Genuinely, it's been a fun little unit to zip around in, and I love the dual clutch. It gives it a very direct feel. And then, speaking of Kawasaki, this has been an absolute beast. This is the Kawasaki Ridge Crew. This thing is unbelievable luxury. I can't believe that you can just spec this in the side-by-side. The level of comfort and refinement and technology and windshield wipers and power windows and air conditioning, and oh man, that list goes on. It's an expensive unit, but Kawasaki's build quality, folks, is on another level. I really think they just far exceed that of Polaris and in some cases Can-Am. This has been a workhorse this year. It's hauled a bunch of stuff. We've got a little tow ball in there. It moves trailers for us, and it's been perfect. Really like both of these units. So big thank you to Kawasaki and Honda for loaning us some side-by-sides for the summer. This is probably going to go back soon, but I'd love to do some stuff with a Pioneer. So if anyone at Honda is watching this. All right, let's keep going here. What else we got? Let's go to this yellow thing. So as a kid, I loved C3 Corvettes. And they've kind of been under fire lately, a lot online. Like, people are like, oh, Malaise era, slow, underpowered, smog-filled. They drive like trucks. I mean, I've seen it all, and I just don't give a heck. So we picked this one up. It's a 1968. It's not a particularly impressive spec. It's got a 327 and a 3-speed manual. Did you even know you could get C3s with a 3-speed? It's a very rare option. Should put that on a t-shirt and start wearing it with my New Balances. But genuinely, 1, 2, and 3. That's all you get in this C3. And I do not give a hoot because this car makes the right noises. It's one of the best looking cars of all time. I will fight you on that. And it has been an absolute joy to drive. It actually drives pretty good. Steering's good. The brakes are fine, even though they're manual brakes. It just works. It's just been super reliable, it sounds great. It burns some oil and it's pretty slow, but I just don't care. And especially, look, 68, 69, 70, 71 through 72 are the really desirable C3s, and they can be really big money. This is probably one of the cheapest early C3s because, yeah, the paint's a little rough here and there, and it's missing some things. Gotta get those headlight protectors installed, but I just don't care, right? I just think you can't have a car that looks this good and have it be that bad. If that makes sense. The looks on this car will make up for a lot of shortcomings, and frankly, there's not that many shortcomings. It does everything you'd want an old 60s car to do and has been super reliable. So this has been truly one of my all-time favorite cars we've ever owned. It's been in a bunch of videos and it will continue to be so. Mary and Jen just did a little road trip in this over at TFL Classics, a great video up to Aston, so check that out. And the goal here, folks, is that all of these cars are going to end up in videos and have ended up in videos. So obviously that thing you're probably sick of seeing. Even my personal cars like that Land Rover and the Fiat, these two we'll talk about in a minute. Corvette's been in a bunch of videos. AT4X is like, stop getting me on camera. But the point is that these cars have to be in videos or we kind of have to sell them. So there's a lot of cars over the years I would have loved to keep that we just couldn't afford to keep because they were not, you know, earning a living with us. So they ended up getting moved on. Let's come on over here. Let's talk about the big one in the corner. GG. GG stands for General Giant. Over at TFL Off-Road, we just did our first kind of hardcore test in this thing, and it killed it. It sustained a little bit of damage, you know, got some of our coating kicked off there, and then a little mud flap mount got a little tweaked, but guys, this is so cool. And I know it's expensive. I think it's like $45,000 if you were to build this today, $50,000 through a company called Boyce. They take them ex-surplus, they title them, incredibly important thing that all the haters online forget. And then they also restore them. So paint, axles, tires, interior, engine, all of it's gone through. So for 45 grand for 2025 standards, doesn't seem that nutso. And they're just so cool, right? It's been pretty reliable. It's not as uncomfortable as you might expect. Ours, we optioned with air conditioning, so you stay nice and cool. They reupholstered the seats, they painted everything. So it's a very well-equipped machine. It's not super useful on a regular basis because it only does like 4 miles an hour, right? But if you live in a place where 54 miles an hour is good enough, yeah, I think it's awesome. It's really cool. This is the car. We've got some more video plans coming up with this. One of our longest term cars. It's been a huge project of the channel. This is an 87 911 convertible. We got this car because there was, you know, a couple years ago, 911s were incredibly hot. They were also incredibly expensive. This was the cheapest one anywhere. It's like $35,000, clean title, you know, no rust, looks good. It's got the wide body on it. And then over the years, we've put way too much money into, you know, just making it nicer. So we put the wheels on it. Convertible top was broken. We fixed the top. Then we reupholstered the top. And then the mechanism broke again. And then we fixed it. And then the mechanism broke again, and then we fixed it. So this car has an electric top. It's been nothing but headaches. So we're going to try to convert this to a manual top, I think is our goal. So we're working with a local shop on that. My dad, to his credit, has done a really lovely job with pretty much everything on this car. He's arranged for the interior to be done. It's got that really cool Porsche PCM head unit in there. It's got a new ECU with a tune on it. And then the best thing he did, oh, this is so good, are the white Fuchs. So this car's been a complete and utter money pit, and there's no way we're going to get out what we have in it. But you know, it's a beautiful car. It's always going to hold its value. It's just an icon, right? And it's not a particularly desirable one, right? It's not a turbo, but it's a 911 wide body, so it's always going to be somewhat desirable. And you know, we've done some fun videos with this. As a thumbnail car, people don't really click on it, but you can sneak it into a video. It's been in a whole bunch of drag races, especially with like normal, more affordable cars of the modern era. And I think it's going to be in another one here very shortly against the GR Corolla. I think it would be pretty cool to see what a car that's worth double a GR Corolla does in the drag race. Yeah, keep an eye out for it over at TFL Classics. Let's see. What else we got going on? Tater Tot. Let's come up to Tater Tot. Now, 2018 Land Rover Discovery 5. We bought this because this is the most hated of all the Discoveries. People just don't like them very much because they're kind of round, look like a suppository, and are just, I don't know. It doesn't look like a Discovery, but surprisingly been excellent. These are heavily depreciated now. You can pick them up for like $20,000, $18,000, even just a few years old. And it's been really reliable. We did have one issue with it. After taking it to Moab, it threw a diesel. This is a 3-liter diesel. It threw a diesel warning light on the dashboard. Luckily, we were so recent after buying it, we brought it back to the dealer and was like, what the heck, guys? They went ahead and figured out that the DEF injector had just crystallized over. It's a very common issue with all sorts of diesels. So they cleaned it out free of charge, and it's been perfect ever since. It's back on its street tires because this thing is being sold, hopefully, fingers crossed, to one of the TFL crew. Can you guess which one? Who is buying Tater Tot the Discovery 5? All right, so before we get to the best, the worst, and most surprising in the one car I would never, ever sell if I had the choice, let's talk about some cars that aren't here. So Viper, still got that first gen Viper. It's been in a bunch of videos lately. Oh, what a machine. That's been some of the best money we've ever spent on a car. So much fun. That's at our mechanic Toby's right now. He's going through the AC system. Our K-Truck is kicking around here. It's in one of our outbuildings. That thing has been a workhorse this summer, moving dirt around. We still have a Model T. I'm actually putting that thing under the knife this weekend because it's getting new transmission bands. So that's kind of torn apart. And then what else we got? I still have my 70s Mercedes. That was my wedding car, so that can never be sold. F-150, my dad's driving. We still have our C8 Corvette. That's going to be traded in here shortly because people kind of stopped watching it. So that's going in for something else, which we'll announce very soon. But anyways, let's get to the best car. Yeah. Actually, no. Let's start with the most surprising car. Now, this is actually two cars. We just picked this one up last week, and our intro video is live right now. We just announced it over at TFL Classics. This is a 1990 Cadillac Alante. This is a 2001 Cadillac Eldorado ETC Touring Coupe. Eldorado Touring Coupe. I never had any interest in these cars at all. I always thought they were kind of frumpy and old manny, and then these two popped up at an auction, a local, it's called Peak Auto Auction. It's a donated car auction. And they went for super cheap, bought them both sight unseen on a whim, and I can't tell you how much I love them. They have been really good. They've been so good. So this ETC, if you go over to TFL Car, Mary just did a week with this thing, Mary's drives. It's so comfortable. It looks cool. The interior is beautiful. We did have an issue with the coolant expansion tank. That was replaced. And it's got this dent in the door, which is hideous. I don't know what to do with this. I can't track down another ETC door. Believe it or not, they're not that common anymore. And I wonder if a paintless dent guy can at least make it look better. But look at that interior. It's got the wood. It's got heated seats, heated leather. Oh, this North Star has a terrible reputation, but I figure if this one's made it 122,000 miles, it'll keep cranking a little bit more. Ooh, I have a hard time thinking of other cars I would just rather cruise around in than the ETC. This thing has been phenomenal. If that North Star blows up too, look, we bought it for 1,500 bucks. We're in it like 1,800. It's not the end of the world. Now this thing has been even better. I can't believe how much I like this. So Cadillac Alante, these cars manufactured in Italy, flown each body over a 747 to Detroit, where they were then assembled by Cadillac with the running gear and all of the bits that make it work, and then sold to compete with the Mercedes SL. It's kind of a failure, but what an amazing piece of design, especially from like, look at that angle. I think it looks great. Very futuristic dashboard. Go ahead and click the key on. It's got those digital gauges. Oh, look at that. And for $2,000, it is in shockingly good shape. 107,000 miles. Tires are good. Suspension's okay. Engine runs good. Convertible top is nice. It's got, you know, some interior wear, and it's still pretty dirty. This was like an hour of my dad cleaning it, maybe 2 hours, and it still is a little grimy. But folks, I can't express to you how much I like that Alante. So these are the most surprising of the cars we've owned all year. They get a terrible reputation. I understand North Stars are potentially a horrible, but for the money, I just love them. I think they're great. They ride good. They look cool now. It's an unusual design. I don't know which one we'll end up keeping because they take up quite a lot of room. So I don't know. Maybe one of these will be sold. But yeah, very, very good, cool cars. Best car in the fleet is, drumroll please, our BMW i8. Yeah. I know, kind of a surprise, but my dad and Cole road trips this thing down from Alaska, I think last year, and we put a ton of miles on this thing. So it's, for an i8 at least, I think it's up to 41,000 miles, something like that, and we bought it with 33 $3,000, and for what's essentially a supercar, that's kind of a lot of miles. I just drove this thing to South Dakota for a work trip. My dad just drove this thing to Aspen for a work trip. I just did a video over at TFL Car if you want to see how it's been holding up, but perfectly reliable. The BMW dealer took a look at it and said, yep, needs nothing. It's got the original 11-year-old battery. That's working perfectly. I can't express to you how misunderstood these cars are. People think they're cheap because they're unreliable, but they're not. They just work. I talked to a lot of mechanics, done a lot of research on these, and oh, best car we own. All-wheel drive, it's comfortable, it's fast, beats our C8 Corvette in the quarter mile, even though it's just got a little 3-cylinder. The battery is great. Guys, if you were to buy one car and park your money into it, I think it'd be an i8, because you can't have a car that looks like this with doors that go up like this and have it be $37,000 or $40,000 forever. It's just not possible. These things are going to be so valuable someday. So this is going to stick around for a little bit. People like watching it too. It's fairly popular. Yeah, best car we own. So we've done most surprising, done best. Let's do worst. This one pains me a little bit to say, but our ZR1's been a little, it's been a little bit of a nightmare, a little bit of a disaster. So we bought this thing on Bring a Trailer to compare with our Viper. And I love ZR1s. I've been dreaming about these cars since I was a kid. This one we paid $27,000 for. And the reason we did that is because visually it's a 10, right? Interior wise, it's like a 9. This is such a good looking car. It is super low miles. I think it's got like 27,000 miles. So like it's got a lot of the stuff people look for. It's got the super rare ZR1 windshield. This could be worth up to $4,000, by the way. You can't buy these windshields anymore. They have the little cutout for radar detectors. It was a reflective surface. I mean, a lot of good stuff with this car. I mean, look at the interior. Interior looks great. But it's been kind of a bit of a money pit. I'm being totally transparent. So if you watch the video on a road trip, the oil cooler lines failed in Utah. Met a super nice guy who helped us get it on the road. And then since then, get this hood up, we've put new oil cooler lines in. So come on over here. Check this out. Oil cooler lines are in. Braided, they look great. Whew. Okay, solve that. So that's not a problem anymore. Now, 27,000 miles, when we bought it, it had an undisclosed transmission crunch going into first gear, which is a real bummer. So we had a local Corvette shop look at it, and they diagnosed it, and they said, like, they really didn't think that it was an issue with the transmission. So they thought it was an issue with the hydraulic system related to the transmission. They went through the clutch master, and I have to look at we just got it back. I'm not really sure what they did. Our producer picked it up, but they did a whole bunch of work on the hydraulic system, and it's better, I'm told, but it's not fixed. And now it's got an airbag light on as well. So I think that we are going to make this car good. How much money that's going to cost is another question. Those oil cooler lines, shockingly expensive. Going through the whole hydraulic system for the clutch, pretty expensive. My dad's kind of just done sinking money into it. We're going to go get a dyno, see what it's making on the dyno. I think it might be a little down on power. I think it might need injectors next, even though the previous owner claims he had just replaced them when he bought the car a couple of years ago. So I think that I'm still hopeful. But currently it's been a little bit of a sour experience with the ZR1. It's a good example though, guys. Like if you're going to own a car, great keeping it looking good, but you have to drive it. Things just fall apart when you don't drive them. So 26,000 miles, 27,000 miles means a lot of good things. Like it means that there's probably still a lot of life in many of the components, and the visuals in this car are beautiful, but you have to drive them. So that's unfortunately going to be the worst car we currently own on my list. It's depressing to say because there's an Elante behind it, but for the money, I think you understand what I'm saying. And then the one car I would keep, if I could only keep one of these, if it was up to me, boom. Yeah. Oh gosh, a bee has just flown into me. What the heck is that? It's not a bee. What is that thing? It's huge. Oh my gosh. What are you? Someone will let me know in the comments below. This is the car, or Jeep, I should say. This is the one machine I would keep if I could only save one from a catastrophe. This is a 1945 Willys MB. Case and I did a really cool video taking this thing to Moab, Utah this year. It's no secret I'm a big off-road guy. I'm a big Jeep fan. This is where it all started. The condition on this thing is awesome. This is an example of where Bring a Trailer can be great. We bought it from a historian who took loving care of this, beautifully maintained. He had the engine rebuilt. We got it for a pretty good price, I think, and I really hope we never have to sell it. It's pretty popular on the channel as well still, and it's just the best, most influential piece of history in the entire kind of collection here, and I love it. It does have one issue. So where I live, we have country roads everywhere, right? Which is great. You think it would be great for a vehicle that realistically does like 40, 45. The problem is the speed limits are all 45, people do 60. Now, if you're in a Model T doing 30, people don't care at all because you look like you're driving through the set of chitty chitty bang bang. It's obviously going to be slow. They just pass you, they smile, they wave. This thing does like 40, which is just slow enough to make people really upset, and then strangely, people don't give it any respect. People just get really pissed off and they fly by you and you can get flipped off, and like, it's a really weird thing. You would think that a machine so unbelievably important into the success of our country during the Second World War would receive a huge amount of respect from people, but it makes the community upset, which is kind of weird. So it's a little tricky to drive where I live. But I still wouldn't sell it for the world. I think it's that cool. But there you have it, folks. I think I got pretty much all of them. We still have a 2CV. One of our buddies of our channel is looking at buying it, so he's driving it right now. I still have Terry the Tercel. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I just did some body work on it, but what am I going to do with the Tercel? F-150 still kicking around. That's is at the office. It's kind of like our work truck. Yeah, I think I got it all. Maybe I'm missing one, but too many cars, not enough time to do videos. Some of these will definitely be gone by the next one. Some of these are definitely going to break down before the next one, but as that stuff happens, I'll be sure to fill you guys in. Let me know what you think. This has been Tommy. AllTFL.com is the place for the latest videos, and we'll see you in the next one.